Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for attending our parent forum. Before we get started, I'm just going to do a couple of technical checks with everybody just to make sure you can hear us and see us. Okay, so you can see at the bottom of your panel, you'll have a little raise hand icon. So if you can hear me all okay, if you could just press that raise hand, and I can see. That's brilliant. Thanks, everyone. That's great. And same thing again. I'm just going to lower them now. If you can see us all okay, you can see our videos. That's fantastic. I'm just going to check with my colleague Martin. If you can just check if you can unmute. Martin? Yep. Brilliant. Okay, great. All right, so I'm just going to share this. So just to let you know, before we get going, there's a couple of housekeeping things I'd like to just do with you. So the chat function is disabled for this session. So if you have any questions to ask us, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. So if you have any comments or want to communicate with us in any way, just press that Q&A button and your questions will come through to us. You can ask questions throughout the session. We have got a dedicated, the second half of our program will be answering these questions, so please just send them in throughout the session and we'll get through those. If we don't manage to get around to answering all the questions during this time, we'll post them all on the website, on the parents page of the website, so you can refer to them there. But also, if you have any questions after the session that you didn't think to do at the time, you can email those to Jackie Granby, whose email address you'll have from registering for this event. And also you'll see within the presentation, you'll find her email address there. So that's it from me. If you, now I'm going to hand over to Mandeep.
Brilliant. Thank you. Can you hear me? Laura, just give me a thumbs up.
Yep.
Brilliant. Well done. Okay, first of all, a very, very warm welcome this evening to our first virtual parent forum. I'm Mandeep Gill, Principal and Chief Exec, and I'd just like to start by saying a massive thank you to Laura, who's just been taking us through the opening, and to her team for putting all this together. It's the first time we're doing something like this, and as you can see, there's been a lot of work put behind it. So thank you, Laura, and thank you to the marketing team. I thought I'd just say a little bit today about what's been going on at NewVIc, and certainly in the current climate with COVID, how we've been adapting and how we've carried on supporting our students, which is always at the college, and certainly from the staff's perspective, is our #1 priority. Our #1 priority are our students. Our #1 priority is your children. So what we've been able to do to get ourselves back into the swing of things since September, since we've opened, we've obviously made the site very, very COVID safe. Everything from one-way systems to hand sanitizers to wearing face masks to ensuring that every single room is equipped with wipes so that students can use them. But also making sure that we've got bubbles so that students are mixing with certain groups that we can track and trace if we need to. We've got zones within the college, so students are not only in a bubble, they're also placed within a zone in the bubble, which then gives them almost double security. So we've been doing a lot to keep things safe. I'm really pleased to say that so far things have gone very, very smoothly. And I want to thank you and the students for working with us to make it as safe as we can in the current environment. What's also really pleasing to be able to report back is, obviously, us as the rest of the country went into some sort of a lockdown come mid-March, towards the end of March. And we were very fortunate to be able to almost overnight move on to a total online learning model. And that's again thanks to the team and the staff who were able to do that, because we do put a lot of emphasis into digital technology and engaging students that way. But what was really pleasing was to see the end result. After the results were all announced in the summer, I'm very proud to say that NewVic held its own, continuing its upward trajectory of fantastic results. We had over 500 students achieve an English or Maths grade 4 where they never had one before. We've had over about 1,500 students progressing from one level to the next internally, which means this year they're studying at a higher level at NewVic than they were last year. And of course, the icing on the cake always is, you know, where did students go? Well, just about 700 students have now moved on to university, and most of them on their first choice, which is absolutely brilliant. And as always, what people don't associate with NewVic is we send students through Oxford, Cambridge, Bristol, local universities such as Middlesex, UEL, Greenwich, Manchester, even across to America on scholarships. So that is our legacy, and our legacy is, and what we pride ourselves on, is ensuring that students progress to their preferred destination. What is it a student wants to do next? What can NewVic do to help you get to that next destination? And as you just heard me say, you know, we are very, very proud of continuing that trend of ensuring students move on to what they want to do next. The other thing I'd just like to say is, I'm very clear as principal, and I know my senior team and the rest of the staff very much buy into the ethos. We are not here to look at a student's grade alone. We are very much interested in developing the student holistically. And what I mean by that is, how do we encourage them to develop those team building skills, confidence? How do we develop their communication skills? How do we get them involved into activities that they might normally not do? That is one of our biggest focuses here at NewVic, in terms of let's develop the person, not just the grade. And what I'm really proud to say is that when Ofsted came not so long ago, they gave us an outstanding for the way that we help develop the holistic person. So all your children that are here now with us, please believe and be rest assured that their education is always at the forefront of our mind. But that stands hand in hand with how do we ensure the student leaves NewVic with a rounded understanding of how they can benefit moving on into the wider world. So at that point, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to hand over to Jackie just for a quick word on the parent forum, and then we're going to talk to some of the senior team. So over to you, Jackie.
Hi everybody. So we produced the parent council so that parents and guardians can have a much more active role in their students' education while they're with us at the college. We meet 3 times a year. Going forward this year, it's going to be obviously online meetings. It's just for an hour and a half. Mandeep is always there, and various other staff. And the parent council sets the agenda of things like this for the parent forum event. If you are interested, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. If you could just contact me. My details are on the slide there. You can either phone me or email me. And hopefully you'll get involved. It's a really good way of meeting other parents and obviously moving the college forward. So please contact me. I'm now going to hand you over to Martin Reid, who is the Assistant Principal for Student Services.
Thanks, Jackie. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the new term at college, and also about the sort of measures we've put in place to get the new term off to a smooth and safe start. So first of all, just to tell you about how things are working at college. I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of this, but some of the things that we're doing. So, students, as you know, your children are attending 50% of their classes face-to-face at the minute and 50% online. This is to assist with social distancing. This was to make sure that all students could get some face-to-face teaching, but we were able to maintain social distancing to keep children as safe as possible when they're in college. Additionally, we've got hand sanitizer stations in place, a one-way system, regular biomisting, which is something that we do very regularly, which is an excellent way to control the virus in the college buildings. Additionally, and this is something we've just introduced, all staff and students must now wear a mask in all communal spaces in the college. This is in response to the recent changes in government guidance. All staff and students in communal areas need to wear a mask now to keep all of our staff and students as safe as possible. So things are changing rapidly, as we know, and as the COVID-19 rate starts to go up again. We will keep you updated on any changes we have to make at college. We will make sure that you receive regular updates. We'll email you and your child with any changes, and any changes will also be published on the college website. So you will hear from us as any government guidance changes, as we need to change the guidance to make sure we keep everybody safe in line with COVID-19 measures, and you will hear from us about all of those things. And the key ways, as I say, we will email you, and you will see updates on our college website. You can see the address of the college website there. And one of our main focuses, of course, at the minute is the attendance of students and the attendance of all of our students to college. After a long time out of school and college, it's really important that everybody gets to all of their classes. The thing we've done this year, of course, because it's 50% face-to-face and 50% online, is that students need to attend all of those classes. So not just the face-to-face was when they're in college, but when they're studying online, it's really important that they attend those online classes, which are on their timetables, just like the ones when they're in college. We are aware that some young people may have difficulty accessing the online classes. So if your child is having any problems at all with that, please ask them to tell their tutor and to go for support at the Learning Resource Centre, the LRC. So please make sure, do let us know if there's any problems at all with accessing online classes. This is a new thing for all of us. And if they're having any problems at all, do tell them to get in touch with us, and we'll give them all the help and support they need to make sure they can access all their learning and keep their attendance really high. Now, one of the key priorities at college for the new term is something we use called, that some of you may have come across, called Ucas. Now, Ucas is the application to go to university. We expect over 1,000 students to apply to university this year. But because things are really uncertain, it's incredibly important, more so than ever, that we get this university application completed as soon as possible. And we're aiming for all applications to be completed by half term, and that's October the 23rd. That's much earlier than we've ever done it in the past. But because we're so concerned that circumstances may change, it's really, really important that we get that done so all of our students have a really good application and can get to the university they want to get to study next year. So if your child is a Year 2 A-level student or studying BTECs and he's also a Year 2, anybody whose child is expecting to go to university next year, can you please work with us and encourage them to complete their applications. The tutors are working incredibly hard with these students at the minute to get the applications done. Some of them are already complete. We've already completed applications in the last week or so. And we're aiming to get all of these applications done, as I say, by October half term. So if you can help us with that and encourage your child to get those applications completed, that'll be great. And we'll let you know if we have any problems getting the applications done. And finally, this is just to introduce to something additional that we use to keep in touch with you. This is called Parent Portal. This is something that gives parents and guardians access to their students' timetables, attendance and reports, so we can give you more information so that you can keep an eye on how your child is progressing whilst at college. Now, in order to get this going, it's really important you've got your details right. So if you could remind your child to visit our MIS team in the management role, and they can confirm your details to make sure we've got your email contact right. And that's set up. You'll receive an email from MIS with instructions on how you can log into Parent Portal and create a password. And then that'll be a way in which you can communicate with us and you can get information from us about your child's timetable, how their attendance is going, and you'll also get periodic reports on their progress at college. Okay, that's everything from me. So I'm now going to hand over to Magdalena Johnson, who's the Vice Principal for Curriculum and Quality.
Very much, Martin, and good evening, everyone. So Mandeep has already mentioned that, but I felt it was worth reinforcing yet another successful year, last academic year, in terms of our pass rates in A-levels, extremely strong, and also achieving high grades, more high grades than in previous years, a variety of A-level subjects. Also, we performed really, really strongly on our BTEC provision and vocational provision, with achieving over 50% of students achieving triple distinction star. So in terms of our teaching and learning, what I wanted to, just a little reminder about how our programs are organized. So I'm sure that you've definitely come across of a term study program. The study program kind of incorporating a core qualification that your child will be studying. So whether that's a vocational qualification or A-level qualification, A-level subject, all program will include English and non-maths if your child did not achieve a grade 4 at the end of the secondary school. The study program will also include work experience and enrichment. So all of the components will then constitute a study program. When we talk about students learning and attending, we'll often refer back to the program, not just individual subjects, because that's what they're studying while they're with us at the college. So in terms of our teaching and learning, I've also put a collaboration. We use a Google Suite for Education, which is a fantastic platform that the teachers and students are using for learning, for collaboration. Our online lessons will be delivered via Google Meet, so the students will be able to join those lessons online, and the work will be set on Google Classroom, and they will have access to loads of applications in the G Suite because they're students at our college, and they will be able to actually make the best out of them. So as part of our teaching and learning, the students will undertake regular assessments. So every couple of weeks, there's going to be a standardized assessment point for students. Throughout that period as well, we'll ensure that the teachers, the subject teachers and the tutors meet each student for a progress review, during which they will be reviewing the targets that come out of the assessments the students will undertake. Something that we're particularly proud of, it's our honours programme. So something that you could read in a video that was played at the start of this evening. So this is a programme that supports students to actually progress on to elite selective universities. And through that program, we're offering a wide range of enrichment opportunities and a wide range of sessions that the students, and something that will prepare them for fantastic progression. And as Mandeep already mentioned, our students are progressing to King's College, Imperial, Cambridge, Oxford, and also for universities, post 92 universities. But we are very, very proud of that. And the honours programme is actually there to support the students with that progression and offer them really enriched opportunities outside of their curriculum. So my colleague Martin has already talked about attendance, but I would just like to kind of focus on the target in particular across the study program. So we are aiming at 95% attendance. Obviously, we would like to see all students attending all lessons, so ultimately achieving 100% attendance. But we do appreciate that sometimes they're not able to achieve that. But what we're looking at is a minimum 95%. And we're always stressing that at the start of the academic year, particularly in terms of the year one students who will then hope to progress with us. One of the key components and key aspects that we actually look at is attendance. So we want to make sure that the students are successfully progressing onto the second year, and they've actually, during the first year of the study program, they will have achieved 95%. I've already talked about Google Classroom and the G Suite for Education. This is where your child will find all the homework and the online tasks that they need to complete. There will be in subject-specific Google Classrooms, and the teachers will have already shared with the students, and actually they have also been invited by the teachers, and what they need to do is just to accept the invite. Really important aspect, and my colleague Martins has already talked about it, it's a support provided by our dedicated tutor team that are there to support the students with any issues that they might have. Also, they support second year students with Ucas, which is a very, very important priority with a pressing deadline of the 23rd of October. They're there to support the students, and there to support the teachers as well, and work collaboratively to ensure that ultimately every single student is successful at the college. Thank you. And I'll hand over to Laura.
Okay, great. Thanks, Magdalena. So we're now at the the Q&A section. So I'm just going to head over to the questions. So I've got one just following what you were saying about attendance, Magdalena, a question here from a parent. What happens if you don't receive 95% attendance?
We're going to be looking at individual circumstances. This is where we would like all the students to be at, but we do appreciate that there might be some individual cases where the attendance 5%, and that's mainly due to health reasons. So we will be then engaging with the parents and the students to actually explore the reasons and put the right support in place and be successful at the end of the program.
Can I just add as well, Magdalena, thanks for that. It may sound very obvious, but there is a direct correlation between attendance and success on your course. And the more a student attends, the more success they will achieve. So hence why we really support students to attend as much as they can, because we know two things. One, they'll definitely end up getting a better grade. And two, if we can build that habit now, that really supports them when eventually, whenever it will be, they move on to higher education or to employment. Those are the sorts of things that employers want to know. How has the attendance been in the past? And we're very proud to be able to put, it's been brilliant for this person. That's always a measure that employers will use. So it's really important we work towards that attendance.
Great, thanks, Mandeep. So I've got another question here about communication between tutors and parents. So a parent asking about what is about monthly progress reports. Is that something parents can receive, and is that something we can look into? I know you were talking about parent portal earlier, Martin, which I think is linked to this question.
Yeah, so parents will receive progress reports on how their students are getting on. They'll get them via parent portal, but we'll also be communicating them on a half-termly basis how students are getting on. So they will do that. And if there are any concerns about progress, then parents can expect to hear from tutors as well. We wouldn't wait for a report to go out. Tutors, as Magdalena touched on with regards to attendance, tutors will be getting in touch with parents to let them know of any issues with their progress.
Great, thanks, Martin. Next
sorry,
question.
Laura, can I just reinforce Pro Portal and the importance of it? So, you know, we're very keen that as parents and guardians, you'll also be able to access just how your child or person you're looking after is performing. That Pro Portal, that is the way to do it. It gives you live data on attendance, punctuality, compliments that staff have given, any concerns they've got, the reports that are being written. You can see it all whenever you want to. So that's really important that you're logging on to that. And if anybody's got any specific concerns with logging on, I'm going to turn to Martin here. What's the process in terms of people who haven't got login details for tracking onto Pro Portal?
So the first stage, as I mentioned, is that it's important that students have checked with MS that we've got the right parent details, so we've got the right email addresses. Parents should receive an email which will give them instructions on how to log in and create a password. If they have any problems with that, there will be an email address where they can contact us, and then we can pick that up and help them and support them so that they can get logged into Parent Portal.
Okay, great. So there's quite a few questions here from quite a few different parents asking about timetables. So just asking about that there's been a lot of acknowledging that there's been a lot of changes to timetables, and, you know, are we gonna, is there more changes to timetables coming? And just a bit of clarity about it being online and offline. So I don't know if any of you want to address that, or, you know, talk about how the teaching is working at the moment. I know you did mention it earlier in the presentation about it being half online and half offline. How did students know where their lessons are and they're taking place?
Yeah, so in terms of the timetable changes, so if there is a change, students will be able to access Pro Portal, and they will be able to see if any changes have been made. And we had to just, for the small minority of lessons, we actually had to move some of the lessons around in order to create a more cohesive model. And if the students actually log into the portal, they will be able to see which lesson it's online, which lesson is in college. Due to group sizes and quite a curriculum that we offer, and due to some of the subject combinations, there might be the case where the students have a particular lesson, let's say online, while they're in college. So that's something that we are working on at the moment, but there should be consistency as the week progresses. But if there are any changes, the first port of call is to log into the portal, because all the changes that are being made are live on the student portal. In terms of feedback, I often speak to students on quite a regular basis, and students actually see me in my office. The feedback's been very, very positive in terms of students being engaged and the students actually benefiting from a slightly different approach, more sort of holistic approach towards learning. And I've received quite a lot of feedback compared the secondary school to, you know, the learning they're actually getting at the moment, and they could see a substantial differences. We have actually invested a lot in terms of our online teaching and learning, and just making sure that we are prepared effectively for what is currently happening in terms of our education the students being delivered online. So yeah, so just to sum up any changes, I would encourage students just to keep checking the portal on a regular basis, because all the changes that are made, they will be able to see them automatically.
And following that, Magdalena, we've got questions asking if students do have a problem with their timetable, who do they follow that up with, and how do they get help for if they've got an issue with their timetable?
You've got any questions with regards to any issues, and sometimes are just purely down to the fact that the students doing quite unique combinations of subjects. The first port of call will be the tutor, and we can also get help from our MIS department, who are based in a management hub. So firstly, the tutor, that will be first port of call, and they will normally address that department.
Great. Okay, so there's a couple of questions about attendance. So some relating to COVID. So there's a question here about the attendance number not working, or the mailbox being full. Something else relating to that about if a child is unwell and it's not COVID related. So I know you're talking about attendance earlier, but maybe if you could just reiterate about the process of reporting student absence, and also linked to the current climate and COVID and things like that. Anyone? Martin, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm just taking off mute. Sorry, Laura. Yeah, so there is an attendance line. The details are on the college website, so you can ring that line. And in relation to COVID, again, if you go on the college website, the guidance on what you need to do, we're following the government guidance on what you need to do with regard to if somebody in your house has symptoms, or if you test positive. Again, we'd ask you to let us know, and you can take the necessary action as per the government guidance. But the information is all there on the college website, and we keep that updated regularly, so that if the guidance changes, we can make sure that you're updated with regard to it. But there is a college attendance line that you can phone if your child is unwell for whatever reason, so that you can let us know that they won't be coming to college.
Okay, great. Thanks, Martin. And following on from that, we've got a question from a parent saying that, talking about their daughter got an email about someone testing positive for COVID at the college, and they want to know, has this now been contained? Did you inform everyone who came into contact with the individual? And I guess if you could just discuss, like, what is the process of, when someone receives a positive test for COVID?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. I can go through that. So, yes, we've had very few positive cases, so that's reassuring. When we do get alerted to a positive case, my responsibility is to immediately contact the DFE, the Department for Education. We have if you like, a hotline to them, being a college. They then put us in touch with Public Health England. We go through the details. They ask us certain questions. And following those questions, we're talking to doctors, following those questions, they then tell us exactly what action we need to take. So far, we've only had to, very sadly, and we wish the student well, close one bubble, because we've had one positive case where we were told we need to close a bubble. But what I would say there is the whole purpose of having bubbles and zones, that only impacted 27 students out of about 3,000. So there is a very robust process we follow. We take full advice, and whatever we're told to do by Public Health England, we absolutely do it. And we will continue to do so. That's the important part, I think. This is not us as a college making decisions. This is us following exactly what the health authorities are telling us to do. And if you just want to put things in context, 2 weeks ago in Newham schools, secondary and primary, so far, they've had to close 45 bubbles, that involves 95 members of staff and 1,197 students. So you can see how big the problem is. But I know for a fact, because I'm in regular contact with head teachers, all of us are following the advice given by Public Health England, and that is what we will continue to do.
Thanks, Mandeep. Okay, just going on to slightly different, so about work experience. So there's a couple of questions come in about work experience. One is asking, is work experience taking place because of COVID, and when does this happen for students depending within their course? And then additionally, there's another question about, do students get to choose where they go for work experience, or does the college select where they go for work experience?
Yeah, I can take that one, Laura. Sadly, at the moment, work experience, work placements are not happening. Again, because of government guidance, there are very few workplaces where this is possible. We are still in touch with all our work placement providers. We have a huge network of placement providers, and it's a real shame at the minute that we can't get those things going. In place of them at the minute, we're running employability programs with students to get them as employer ready as possible. And we really hope that it will be possible for them to have placements at some point in the year. But of course, at the minute, circumstances mean that that's not the case. When those placements do take place, they are done on the basis of an agreement between our work placement team, the employer and the student. So yes, there is very much an element of choice in that. They are agreed between the three, so that we can make sure that the students are getting the sorts of experience that they want. We really hope that stuff will get underway again at some point soon, but unfortunately at the minute we just don't know.
Okay, great. And then I've got another question here about careers advice. So about booking sessions for parents and students to meet careers advisors to discuss next steps. How do parents and students do that?
Yeah, we have careers advisors available on site. The first port of call for the student, if they need to see or want to see a careers advisor, to speak to a tutor. We can arrange careers advisors appointments. So there's no problem at all. We have careers advisors available. So if they get in touch with the tutor, and we can arrange a careers advisor appointment for them.
Great, thanks, Martin. And I've seen another one about Ucas, about a deadline for Ucas. If they're in year 12, does this apply for them?
So this applies for all students. It's difficult to talk about year 12. We run slightly differently in the sixth form college, but for all students who are in their last year at college, so if they are on the second year of an A-level course or the second year of a BTEC course, all those students, they will be needed to complete their Ucas by October half term. That's the aim, so that we can get that process completed and make sure that those students are assured of getting the place at the universities that they want as far as we possibly can. So all the students who are in year 2 of those level 3 programs, A levels and BTECs, they will be the students who will be completing the Ucas forms.
Great, thanks, Martin. So a couple of questions here. So we've got one which is, how does a parent know if a child is lacking interest in class? And another one, similarly, if there's a bright student who doesn't necessarily realise their potential, how does the teacher recognise it and push them?
Okay, so normally there will be a dialogue between the teachers and the tutors, and regular progress reviews and one-to-ones of the tutors will have with each student. That's how we pick up any sort of potential issues. And in those cases as well, the students actually approach us. They talk about the difficulties, or they talk about any sort of support that may require. And I often get approached directly by the students that they will come to my office, talk about how they're progressing, or what their career aspirations are. But of course, again, is the dialogue between the teacher and the tutor. What was the second question, Laura?
It was about if a student doesn't realise their potential, how does the teacher recognise it and push them?
Yeah, I think our results are the great and how that's being done in practical terms. And our students come to us with very, very unique profiles. And if I give you example, to actually was showcased in our video, who came to us with no qualifications, and he left with 3 A stars and is now studying computer science and work. How did the teachers recognize it? It was through assessments, actually talking to the students and observing his performance in a classroom. And that's how he didn't get a chance in any other college in London. He was rejected because not a single institution could recognize his potential. We could. And I think this is a great example of how we actually do it in practical terms. Very unique profile, no GCSEs, yet left us with 3 A stars. And this is what we do as part and parcel of teaching. And again, you probably see that in the video. Our teachers are established teachers. They've been working in a profession for a very long time. So they're actually very good at recognizing that potential. And that will be based on a variety of factors in terms of students performing in lessons, or actually in certain cases, what students are doing outside of the curriculum. And that's all together, and it will allow us to push the students to achieve the full potential.
Great, thanks, Magdalena. So I've got a question here. What happens to children who do not have facilities to access online work?
Martin, you taking it? Do you want me to? I'll do it. Okay. So students who can't access online, what we've set up is, if you have an online lesson, we've set up the top floor of the library, which has about 60 specific laptops, Chromebooks, what we use here. So students can come in when they have an online lesson, and they are welcome and able to access the top floor of the library. They have their own device. They have their own space where they can run the online lesson from the college. So again, we do recognize that we have students that don't always have the access at home, but we've made sure that the access is given to them in college so they can continue with their learning.
Thanks, Mandeep. And following that, we've had a couple of questions sent in before the session. One is about, is there a possibility that lessons will take place online full-time in the future due to the recent changes to COVID and possible government guidelines?
There's always a possibility, exactly as happened last year, I guess. If there is a local or national lockdown, then we have to obviously be very mindful of that situation and follow the instructions we're given. However, what I would say is, for as long as we can, I think it's really important that we keep engaging as much as we can face to face. I think it's that balance between making sure the students are getting a top quality education with being able to have conversations with them face to face to make sure that their well-being is being supported. And that balance has to be there all the time. So yeah, if the situation arises where we're told we have to lock down, then we've been there before. We'll move straight on to 100% online learning. We know we've done it very successfully, so we can do that again. But the preference is we'll keep doing the model we've got for as long as we can.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Mandeep. So I've noticed there's quite a few questions coming in about Parent Portal, following what we're saying, and this is, I guess, this is from me. There's that we will put all the information on the website. That we've got a parents page. If you look in the navigation at the top, and there's more information about Parent Portal on there. And what we'll do as well is we'll review that. We'll add in anything else that we need to add in there. Following today's session, and also in answer to a few questions coming up, this session is being recorded, so we will post a video of this session online along with any questions that we didn't manage to answer, also on that page of the website. So you know, a few days from now, next week, if you have a look at that that page, everything should be up on there. We'll try and get it up there as soon as possible. Okay, so following that, questions about parents' evenings. Is there going to be a parents' evening? When is it, and how will that take place?
Yes, there will be a parents' evening. It will take place after half term. We are currently looking at planning, and rather like this evening's event, it will be a virtual parents' evening of some sort. But again, there's going to be some planning work to be done on that. And again, we will keep you updated on exactly what the arrangements will be for that. But you will be able to speak to tutors and teachers about your child's progress, and we'll make sure we are working in this online environment for you after half term. Great,
thank you, Martin. Got a question here. What kind of support is available for students to make safe and healthy choices?
So our tutorial program is its key focus is students' health and well-being, and we do lots and lots of sessions that work with students on all aspects of their well-being and on their health. There is additional support available for students in relation to our welfare team as well. So if you've got any concerns, or if students have got any concerns, again, as always, the starting point is their tutors. Tutors will be covering these topics in the sessions, but if students have got any additional concerns or need any additional help, then that is available. Additionally, our enrichment and sports programs, we've got a fantastic array of enrichment and sports activities, and again, despite the restrictions, we're getting a lot of those things up and running. Huge numbers of those things focus on students' health and well-being. There's just been our Freshers' Fair, which all students have been able to access. If they've not been able to do that yet, if they check their emails, there are ways of accessing it through that, and there are lots and lots of societies, activities, sports groups that they can get involved in that will focus on their health and well-being.
Thanks, Martin. And then linked to that, there's a question about what restrictions and safety measures are in place with regards to indoor physical education classes.
So, as with some of the other things we've discussed this evening, we are following the guidelines. So all of the governing bodies, all of the different sports that are now running, have had to produce their guidelines. We have to produce risk assessments on the basis of that. So any sport that we run has been thoroughly risk assessed and is following the guidelines set out by Sport England and the other sporting governing bodies. So we follow that guidance, we do our risk assessments on that basis, and then we run activities on that basis.
Thank you, Martin. Okay, one about tutoring. How many students are supervised by one tutor?
It varies. Students are in tutor groups of 20 or so, and tutors, depending on the hours they work, can have several different groups of tutees. But every student has tutorials every week, so has contact with their tutor every week. and every student has one-to-one sessions available to them with their tutors as well. And tutors are available throughout the week if students need anything else as well.
Thanks, Martin. So a question about trips. Are any trips taking place this year? Are there any trips on courses that are going to be going ahead?
Again, as before, as with the work placement issue, we don't have any expectation of anything much happening with regard to trips. Again, the risk assessments and the government guidance on this in terms of people going to different places, what visits are even possible. It's very difficult to do that at the minute. It's very difficult for us to do that and say that we're making sure we're keeping people safe. So sadly, we'd love to do, we always run lots and lots of trips and visits with our young people, but sadly at the minute they are quite limited. We're hoping we can do more as time goes on. There are real limitations on what we can do.
Okay, thanks, Martin. And what else have we got here? Are there any, so a couple of things about lessons. Are there ever any unexpected extra lessons? Do lessons change on a daily basis?
No, lesson wouldn't normally change on a daily basis. As I've sort of already mentioned, there might be some changes in terms of the timetables, and that's primarily due to students taking quite unique combinations that we needed to accommodate, just kind of to secure the interest and progression on that combination. So there won't be any sort of changes happening with that respect. In terms of additional sessions, we are planning on the results that we're going to get from the assessments to actually run some additional sessions for the students that might require some additional support. So that is currently what we're actually working on. So once we have the major deadline for the college for Ucas and applications completed by the 23rd of October, we'll be looking into additional sessions that will support the students' learning. In a vast majority of the cases, if we decide to run those additional sessions, that will be run on the Wednesday afternoon.
Okay, thanks, Magdalena. So couple more questions we just have time for. So there's one here about, can current students apply to apprenticeships?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, really proud that in the past couple of years we've sent over 100+ students to apprenticeships. It's something that we definitely work on, and we've done it very, very successfully. So we also encourage it. University is a great option, but it's not always the best option for every student. Different students have different aspirations. The ones that want to go into employment, we always talk to them about apprenticeship is a great way to get your first job, get paid, but also gain further qualifications while you're working. So absolutely we do, Laura.
Great, thanks, Mandeep. So there's a couple here actually about support. So one, what kind of help do you offer those who require extra support? And additionally, a similar question, how do you ensure that all students receive the support and guidance?
So we have a dedicated team at the college who offer support to students. That can be in class. They're also offering it online as part of the online offers. And we have a huge range of students. We supported more than 400 students last year across the college who had some support needs. Students, we do ask as part of the enrolment process that students identify if they have any support needs, but equally students can be referred by their teachers or tutors if they notice anything where students may need some additional support, and are inclined to pick up those support needs.
Great, thanks, Martin. So we've just got time for last question. And this one is about acknowledging that the change the college has seen over a few years, and asking what do you think has been the biggest change and has had the most impact on students?
I'll tell you what, Laura, I'm going to ask Martin and Magdalena to just give a couple of points of what they think, and then I'm going to give you my opinion. So Martin, if you start for me.
I think the biggest changes I've seen at the college since I've been here have been in the way that we provide holistic support and assistance to students and look at the whole student, something that Mandy talks about right at the beginning of the session. The enrichment activities, sports activities that students can access, the support they can get with their learning, the support they can get with welfare, I think has all improved enormously at the college in recent years. And I'm very proud of the fact that we've been able to support students and to see them progress so brilliantly, both in their studies, but also into sports teams and things from the sports academy here at the college, and into lots and lots of other activities, volunteering, and so many other things. And it's from that all-around support and additional input that students get aside from just their academic learning.
And for me, really, I think for the last couple of years, we've seen a massive growth in our honours programme, a programme that is designed to support our students from a very small provision in a range of 20 students to last academic year that we support nearly 200 students. And some of them came with very, very unique profiles, and any other college that would have not been classified as gifted and talented, we gave them loads of opportunities, and they progressed to top universities in the country. And we're really proud of that. And I already talked about recognising talent. Recognising talent is not just about looking at the grades. This is what Mandeep said, looking at the whole student and their potential, and how that potential can be fulfilled while at the college. What I'm also really, really proud of is the achievement of our staff and students through winning loads of awards, and some of them are national awards. So just to give an example, our sports academy awards in a national peace and national teaching awards, and now he's going to go for gold. So a massive success for the team and the students. And actually for the sports academy, you know, the feedback that we're getting, that over 300 students actually applied to the college because they had access to our fantastic sports facilities. So really proud of that, teachers and students working together to achieve that success.
Brilliant, thanks Martin and Magdalena. For me, I've been here 2 years now. And I think the thing that I'm certainly most proud of and where I've seen the biggest change is how a negative message can become a very positive statement. And let me explain what I mean by that. When I started 2 years ago and I was talking to students about to leave school in year 11, I used to go and do assemblies about their choices. I'd often get told by the students and indeed by staff, NewVic is where you go if you've got nowhere else to go. And they'd think that was somehow or other a negative comment. They'd also say to me things like, if nobody takes you, NewVic will. And actually, in the last 2 years, that is what we pride ourselves on the most. You see, what I try to explain to students and what the change that we've been making is, exactly as Magdalena said, your grade does not define you. A number that you achieve at GCSE does not determine your future. It just tells us where you are now. So what the change I've seen is people recognize that yes, NewVic takes you if you've got nowhere else to go. And yes, you go to NewVic when you don't think you've got any alternative. Actually, that's exactly what we're here for. Whether you want to go to Oxford or Cambridge and you come in with 9 9s at GCSE, we send you there. If you come in with 4 4s at GCSE and you just want to get onto a different type of program because doing GCSEs and exams wasn't the way that you studied well, not a problem. We look after you and we put you on the program. If you didn't get GCSEs when you left school, not a problem. We know that that does not determine you getting GCSEs this year or the next. All it means is at that point in time, you weren't ready. And again, I'll just give you some numbers to put that into perspective. When I say we are proud of taking people that think NewVic is the place to go when no one else takes you, and if you've got nowhere, go to NewVic. Actually, people have now started understanding that wherever you want to go, NewVic gets you there. In the last 2 years, 1,500 students we have sent to university. Over 1,000 students have got maths and English GCSE at grade 4 that didn't have one before they walked through our doors. Someone mentioned apprenticeships. Over 100 apprenticeships have been given in the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, 3,000 students are studying with us at a higher level than what they were when they started. So what's the change I've seen and what's been the impact? The change I've seen is the reputation. The reputation that NewVic is a high-performing, non-selective organisation that looks after its students and ensures they've got a better future. And that's what I'm most proud of, and that's what our staff do, and that's what NewVic's about.
Thank you, Mandeep. And thanks to everyone who's been asking questions. I appreciate we haven't managed to get through to them all, and there are some really good questions there that remain unanswered. So just to reiterate, I'll be posting copies of all of these answers on the website. I'll also email you a link to everyone who's attended this session with answers to the questions as well. And you can also watch back this session. If you have got a sort of specific question relating to your student, your son or daughter, your child, you can contact your son or daughter's tutor to talk about that, and also anything about the college, you can contact Jackie Granby about Parent Forum, and we'll be able to help you with that. So now I'm just going to hand over to Mandeep just for final words and just to thank everyone for coming. So thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, I'd just like to say a huge thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you very much for your questions as well. We will always answer honestly and openly. So as Laura said, if there's anything that we've not been able to cover today, we've missed, or further questions you've got, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us. We are here to look after you. We are here to look after your child. That's what we do. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.